the small crowned soul who searched for love through every stranger. The small crown rested lightly on the ruler's head, but it felt heavier than iron. The palace of Elira stood on a cliff of white stone above a silver sea. At night the sea shone like glass under 3 pale moons. Ships moved slowly in the sky, their lights blinking like tired stars. The planet was quiet now, but it had not always been this way. Long ago war had burned across Elira and the nearby systems. Humans and alien tribes had fought over land, power, and fear. Cities had fallen. Trust had broken. Even though the guns were silent now, the silence felt thin, like glass ready to crack. The ruler stood alone on the highest balcony. The crown was small, made of silver metal mixed with crystal from Elira's core. It glowed softly when the ruler felt strong emotion. Tonight, it gave off a faint blue light. The ruler was young, not weak but not hardened like the old generals. Many in the palace believed the crown should sit on someone colder, someone who understood fear better than hope. Behind the ruler, the doors opened with a soft sound. An old human general stepped onto the balcony. His hair was gray and one of his arms was metal from shoulder to wrist. His eyes had seen too many battles. "The council is waiting," he said. The ruler did not turn. "Do they bring new hope or new warnings?" "Warnings," the general replied. "There are rumors of unrest in the outer colonies. Some say the aliens gather ships again." The ruler finally faced him. "Do you believe that?" The general paused. "I believe fear spreads faster than truth." Inside the council chamber, the air felt cold. A long table of dark stone filled the center. On one side sat human advisors. On the other sat alien representatives from nearby worlds. They had agreed to peace years ago, but they rarely agreed on anything else. A tall alien scientist spoke first. His skin shimmered faint green under the lights. "Your Highness, reports show increased signal traffic from the outer belt. Unknown codes. Unknown ships." The general crossed his arms. "We should increase patrols." "And show them we do not trust them?" the ruler asked quietly. The room fell silent. One of the human ministers leaned forward. "Trust is earned, not given." The ruler looked around the table.
"And how does it begin?" No one answered.
Later that night, long after the council had left, the ruler walked alone through the royal archive halls. Tall shelves reached toward the ceiling, filled with ancient data crystals and old star maps. Few people visited this place anymore. The galaxy moved too fast for old stories. The ruler liked old stories. In a quiet corner behind a broken display, something caught the ruler's eye. A thin metal case half hidden in dust. The seal of the old royal line was pressed into it. The ruler opened it slowly. Inside lay an ancient star map projected in faint gold light. Several systems were marked in red, but one small system far beyond Elira was marked in blue. A small note appeared beside it when activated. "To the colony that chose mercy when war demanded blood." The ruler's breath slowed. The record began to play. Grainy images flickered in the air. During the height of the war, an alien medical ship had been damaged near a human colony. The aliens had expected attack. Instead, humans had brought supplies, repaired the ship, and allowed them to leave unharmed. No trade, no reward, no treaty, just mercy. The record ended with one sentence: "Kindness survived here." The ruler stared at the glowing blue system. No one had spoken of this colony in years. It was far, almost forgotten. Footsteps echoed in the hall. The alien scientist entered quietly. "You should not wander alone at this hour." The ruler did not hide the map. Why was this never shared? The scientist studied the projection, because it did not fit the story people wanted. And what story is that? That humans and aliens cannot trust each other. That peace only comes from strength.
The ruler closed the case gently.
"And do you believe that?" The scientist hesitated. "I believe peace is fragile." "Fragile things are still worth protecting," the ruler said. The next morning, the palace buzzed with tension. News of unknown ships near the outer belt spread quickly. Patrol fleets prepared for movement. In the main hangar, a sleek royal ship waited. It was smaller than the war cruisers, built for speed and travel, not battle. The general stood before it, anger clear in his face. "This is reckless," the ruler faced him calmly. "If we sit and wait for fear to grow, it will. You are the ruler of Elira," the general said. "Not a traveler chasing old myth. Maybe I am both. You cannot leave. The council will not allow it." "The council does not need to know until I am gone." The general stepped closer. "If something happens to you, the kingdom will fall into chaos. If nothing changes, it will fall anyway," the ruler replied softly. A small crew had been chosen quietly. A pilot named Ivo, young but skilled. A systems engineer named Luma, calm and sharp-minded. Both had lost family during the war. Both had agreed to come without asking many questions. As the ruler stepped toward the ship, the crown glowed faintly again. The general spoke one last time. "Strangers are not always kind." The ruler looked back. "Neither are we. That is why someone must try first."
The ship lifted from the hangar with a low hum. It rose above the palace towers and turned toward the open sky.
High above the atmosphere, the stars stretched endless and silent. Inside the ship, the mood was tense. Ivo kept his eyes on the navigation panel. Coordinates locked. The blue-marked system is several jumps away. Luma checked the energy core. Long journey.
We should avoid main trade routes. Too much attention.
The ruler nodded. Agreed. As the ship entered its first jump, space twisted into bright lines of light. The stars disappeared. Far behind them, hidden in the shadow of Elira's moon, another ship powered its engines. It had no royal markings, no clear signal. It followed. Hours later, during quiet travel between jumps, Luma approached the ruler in the observation room. Outside the window, distant stars drifted slowly. "Why this colony?" she asked. The ruler answered without turning. "Because they chose mercy without reason. Mercy can be weakness or strength," the ruler said. Luma studied the crown's faint glow.
"And if they have changed?"
"If they are no better than the rest of us, then at least we will know the truth." Suddenly the ship shook slightly. Ivo's voice came through the comm. "We are picking up long-range signals." Unmarked. Luma rushed back to her station. The ruler followed. On the main screen, faint blips appeared behind them. "Distance?" the ruler asked. "Too far to identify clearly," Ivo replied. "But they are matching our path." The general's warnings echoed in the ruler's mind. "Can we outrun them?" Luma asked. "For now," Ivo said. "But if they are military grade, it will not stay that way." The ruler stood straight. "Do not engage. Stay on course." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Another jump began. Light swallowed the ship again. When they emerged, the unknown signals were still there. Closer. Night settled on the ship in artificial cycles. Most of the crew rested, but the ruler remained awake. Alone in the quiet corridor, the ruler touched the small crown. "Am I foolish?" the ruler whispered. The crown glowed a little brighter, as if answering. A soft beep broke the silence. A private message signal appeared on the wrist console. Unknown sender. The ruler hesitated, then opened it. A simple line of text appeared. "You are not alone in your search." The ruler's heart pounded. "Trace it," the ruler said quietly into the comm. Luma answered after a few seconds. "Signal is scrambled. It bounced across multiple systems. Impossible to track." "Could it be from the ships behind us?" Ivo asked. "Unlikely," Luma said. "Their signal pattern is different." The ruler stared at the message again. Not alone. Was it a friend? A trap? A ghost from the past? Another alert sounded suddenly. "Energy spike behind us," Ivo shouted. "They are charging something." The ship trembled as a beam of light cut through space near them. "Warning shot," Luma said. "Prepare defensive shields," the ruler ordered. More beams flashed past. The royal ship turned sharply, engines burning bright. "We cannot outrun them much longer," Ivo said. "They are faster." The ruler's mind raced. If they were captured, the journey would end before it began.
Next jump point,
The ruler asked. Unstable sector, Luma replied. Asteroid field mixed with ion storms. Dangerous. Will it hide us? Yes, Ivo said slowly. But we might not survive it. The ruler looked at the crown's glow reflected in the dark screen.
set course,
The ruler said firmly. The ship angled sharply and jumped once more. They emerged into chaos. Massive rocks drifted in every direction. Blue lightning storms crackled between them. The ship shook violently.
Manual control, Ivo yelled. The unknown ships appeared behind them, but they hesitated at the edge of the storm.
Keep moving, the ruler urged. The royal ship weaved between spinning asteroids. One rock scraped the side, sparks flying. Shields dropped to half power. Another blast from behind struck an asteroid near them, shattering it into hundreds of pieces. Fragments hit the ship. Warning lights filled the cabin. We cannot take much more, Luma shouted. Suddenly, the unknown ship stopped at the storm's edge. They're pulling back, Ivo said in disbelief. The royal ship pushed deeper into the storm until the signals disappeared completely. Hours later, battered but alive, they drifted in a quiet pocket within the asteroid field. Damage reports scrolled across the screens. We survived, Luma whispered. The ruler finally allowed a slow breath. On the screen, the path to the blue-marked colony still glowed faintly ahead, but the message remained in the console. You are not alone in your search. The ruler looked at the stars beyond the cracked window. Somewhere out there was a colony that once chose kindness in the middle of war. Somewhere out there, someone had sent that message. And somewhere in the shadows, enemies were already moving. The small crowned soul closed tired eyes for a moment. The journey had only just begun. The royal ship shivered as it drifted through the quiet outer sector. The unknown pursuers had vanished, leaving only silence and the distant glow of small stars. The crew was tense but alive. The ruler leaned on the observation panel, eyes tracing the endless darkness beyond the ship. The small crown on their head glowed faintly, responding to the mix of fear and hope within them. Ivo, the pilot, kept his hands firm on the controls. We have to make it to the next jump point before they find us again, he said. The signal they sent us could have been a warning or a trap. The ruler turned slowly. Or it could have been a guide. Luma, the engineer, shook her head. A guide? From who? Someone who does not even want to show themselves? Someone who believes in kindness, the ruler said quietly. Like the colony we are seeking.
The journey was long and silent after that.
The crew slept in shifts while the ship moved through space. The ruler stayed awake, thinking. They thought of the stories in the archive, of the humans who had saved aliens during the war. They thought of all the people who had never tried to trust another being, who had been afraid of strangers. Days passed. Finally, the ship approached a mining world named Reth. The planet was rough and dark, filled with jagged rocks and deep tunnels where miners worked in silence. The surface was dotted with small settlements built from scrap metal and stone. The atmosphere was thin but breathable with help from basic filters. It was far from any noble city, but it would serve as a good place to hide for a while. The ruler decided to land discreetly, avoiding official ports. The crew prepared the ship for a hidden landing near a canyon edge. When the engines finally shut down, silence returned again, this time deeper. No one followed them here yet. The ruler stepped out onto the dusty surface, their small crown reflecting faint light under Reth's pale sun. They wore simple clothing now, a dark tunic and pants, leaving no sign of royalty. They had to move carefully. Even a hint of their identity could attract trouble. A narrow path led to a settlement built into the canyon walls. Smoke rose from small chimneys, and miners moved with heavy steps. The ruler walked slowly, observing. Everywhere there was hard work and tired faces. Fear was hidden under layers of habit. In a quiet corner, a small repair shop caught their eye. The sign read, "Mechanical repairs, any ship, any condition." Inside, a man worked on a broken drone. His hands were gentle but precise, and his eyes were sharp. He looked up when the ruler entered. "Can I help you?" he asked.
I need repairs, the ruler said. A ship.
Small. The man studied them for a long moment. "Everyone says that," he said. "But the real work is not in fixing parts. It's in trusting who you meet." The ruler smiled faintly. "Then I trust you." The mechanic nodded slowly and returned to the drone. Over the next few hours, the ruler watched him work. He was patient, careful, and kind. He offered water to workers, helped children reach high shelves, and spoke to no one harshly, even when mistakes happened. The ruler noticed that this kind of kindness seemed rare but strong. When the repairs were finished, the ruler offered payment, but the mechanic refused. "We all survive," he said. "Helping each other keeps us alive." The small crown glowed softly. The ruler felt warmth. For the first time in many years, they felt the presence of a stranger whose heart was open. But danger was never far. The night brought a warning. Sounds of engines echoed from the canyon entrance. Shadows moved quickly across the walls. The ruler's heart beat faster. "They found us," Luma said, emerging from behind a crate. "The ship's from the outer sector. They tracked us here." The mechanic froze for a moment, then grabbed a small blaster from under the counter. "Not today," he muttered. "No one takes strangers from this place without paying." The ruler stepped forward. "No one needs to die," they said. "We can leave." The mechanic shook his head. "I cannot let them get you. Not when you came here without knowing who was friend or foe." The first lights of the bounty hunter's ships appeared above. Their movements were fast, calculated, and cold. The ruler's ship was still on the landing pad, unarmed and vulnerable. The mechanic led the ruler through hidden tunnels beneath the settlement. The miners helped quietly, pointing out paths and covering exits. The group moved with speed and silence, avoiding the hunters' patrols. During the escape, the ruler discovered something about the mechanic. He had once been a soldier during the war, but he had left after seeing too much cruelty. His heart had hardened, yet it still cared deeply for those who were weak. He expected nothing in return for his help. Hours passed. The hunters were close, and the tunnels twisted into darkness. Then a sudden sound. A heavy door slammed behind them. The hunters had entered the tunnels. The ruler felt fear claw at their chest. The mechanic whispered, "Trust me. Follow me." They ran through a narrow shaft that led to the cliffs above the canyon. Outside, the wind howled. The hunters could not follow on foot here. The mechanic guided the ruler to a hidden platform where a small hovercraft waited. The ruler looked at him. "You could turn me in, take the reward," they said softly. "I could," the mechanic admitted. "But some crowns are worth more than money. Some souls are worth protection." The hovercraft lifted, engines humming. The canyon walls receded below. The ruler realized something new. Love, kindness, and trust were not shown in grand speeches or royal decrees. They were in small actions, choices made even when danger waited. The hunter ships appeared on the horizon, scanning for them. The hovercraft moved quickly through the narrow canyons, weaving between rocks. Sparks flew as energy blasts hit the stone walls nearby. Ivo and Luma, now guiding the royal ship, met them in orbit. The hovercraft joined the ship silently. Once inside, the ruler finally spoke. "I see it now. Trust is not blind. It is a choice, and sometimes it is the strongest weapon of all." The mechanic standing beside them smiled faintly. "You are not the only one who understands that." As the royal ship left Reth behind, the small crown glowed brighter. Somewhere ahead was the Blue Mark colony. The journey was far from over. Shadows followed and enemies were waiting. But the ruler no longer felt alone. And that night, as the ship drifted through empty space, the ruler received a message on a hidden console. "Unknown sender." Another line appeared. "Do not lose hope. You are not the only one who searches." The ruler stared at the message, heart beating faster. Someone was out there, a stranger, who believed in the same thing. The small, crowned soul closed their eyes for a moment, feeling courage rise, somewhere in the stars. Love waited, and they would reach it. The ship glided into the darkness, leaving Reth behind. The unknown followers had not given up, but neither had the ruler. The journey toward hope and trust had only begun. The royal ship glided quietly through space, leaving Reth behind. The small crown on the ruler's head pulsed softly, reflecting a calm determination. Ahead lay a planet known as Virel, a world where humans were rare and aliens ruled with suspicion. The rulers of Virel still carried memories of war and betrayal. They remembered humans as destroyers, and trust was almost impossible to earn there.
The ruler studied the approaching planet through the observation window. Mountains stretched across the horizon, and massive cities rose in sharp angles.
The air shone with bright energy lines from power generators, giving the cities a strange glow. The colony they sought lay beyond these cities, but the ruler knew they had to enter carefully. Ivo adjusted the ship's course. The planet's atmosphere is thin but stable. We can land on the outskirts near the old trading port. Fewer patrols there. Luma nodded. We need to avoid any official channels. If we are recognized, the Council of Vera will not give us a chance to explain. The ruler pressed their hands lightly on the console. We do this to show that kindness can survive even in a world that fears it. The ship descended slowly, gliding between the massive towers and energy spires. Citizens of Virel moved quickly, always alert. Some looked up at the ship with suspicion, but none approached. The royal crest had been hidden, but instinct told the ruler that the moment they stepped out, every eye would be on them. When they landed, a quiet street stretched ahead. Buildings leaned slightly, showing years of wear and repair. The ruler and the crew disembarked carefully, leaving the ship concealed behind a large warehouse. Their small group moved quickly, blending with the workers and traders passing through. As they walked, the ruler noticed the tension in the city. Humans were seen rarely here, and when they were, fear followed them. The ruler felt a strange pull in their heart. Could kindness truly survive in a place that feared strangers? A sudden commotion drew their attention. In a narrow alley, a group of local guards was harassing a young human trader. The trader's supplies had fallen, and the guards demanded payment for walking through the city. The trader was frightened and weak, unable to defend themselves. Without thinking, the ruler stepped forward. "Leave them alone," they said firmly. The guards turned.
"And who are you?" one asked, sneering. "I am a traveler," the ruler replied.
"You have no right to harm someone for doing no wrong." The guards laughed and advanced, but before they could strike, a small crowd of citizens appeared from side streets. Some were aliens, some were humans. They helped lift the trader and drove the guards back. No one spoke of loyalty to the ruler, yet their actions spoke louder than any word. The young trader, trembling, looked up at the ruler. "Thank you, stranger," they whispered. The ruler smiled gently. "Kindness can still be found here," they said, "even in fear." The small group moved deeper into the city, heading toward the central square. Here, the alien council of Irel held their meetings. The ruler's goal was simple: show that humans and aliens could act together, even in danger, and perhaps plant a seed of trust. But as they approached, a sudden storm began to rage. Energy crackled through the sky, and powerful winds tore across the streets. Citizens scrambled to find shelter, but many were trapped in the open. The ruler acted quickly. They directed humans and aliens to safe spots, helping lift children and elderly alike. Ivo and Luma joined in, guiding citizens toward cover. The small crown glowed brighter, reacting to the ruler's strong emotions. In the chaos, the young trader ran toward the ruler. "Help! My friend is trapped under that rubble!" they shouted. The ruler ran with the trader, finding a young alien child pinned beneath a metal beam. The ruler and Ivo lifted the beam together, saving the child. The child's parents arrived, tears in their eyes, and carried the child away. All around, humans and aliens helped one another. Fear slowly turned into cooperation. Citizens who had never trusted outsiders were now working side by side to survive. The storm raged on, but the city survived it, stronger than before. After the storm passed, the ruler looked at the gathered people. They were strangers from different worlds, yet they had acted together. The ruler's heart swelled with hope. "This is proof," the ruler whispered to Luma. "Even here, kindness can survive." But hope rarely came without danger. From the shadows of the city, a voice spoke over hidden speakers. "So, the little crowned soul dares to teach peace again." The ruler froze. The voice was familiar, filled with malice. It belonged to someone who had been following them all along. A warlord from Illyra, the ruler's home planet. He had survived the old battles, hiding in the shadows, feeding hatred, and waiting for the right moment to strike. "You think your kindness can change the galaxy," the warlord said. "I will show you the truth. Power is the only language the universe understands." Suddenly, troops loyal to the warlord appeared at the edge of the square. Citizens scattered, hiding in buildings. The ruler's small crown glowed brighter, warning of imminent danger. The young trader and the alien child's family tried to protect each other, but fear overtook them. The ruler stepped forward, standing in the open, ready to face the approaching soldiers. Ivo and Luma moved to flank the ruler, weapons drawn. The ruler raised a hand. "Stop!" they shouted. "No one else needs to be hurt!" the warlord laughed. "Bravery without strength is meaningless." You will see that soon. Suddenly, the ground shook violently. A massive energy storm, previously contained, surged again across the city. Buildings shook. Streets cracked. The warlord's troops struggled to maintain balance. In the chaos, humans and aliens, working together to survive, began saving trapped citizens. Miners, traders, and former soldiers all acted with courage, putting aside fear. The ruler saw this and understood something important. Love and kindness could inspire action. Even in the darkest of places, the warlord tried to advance, but he was blocked by the very citizens he sought to dominate. Humans helped aliens, aliens helped humans. Weapons were set aside. The storm tore through the city, scattering troops and forcing the warlord to retreat temporarily. The ruler seized the moment. "We must leave," they said to the crew. "The warlord will not stop, but we now know that trust can survive even hatred." Ivo guided the ship back through the narrow streets, avoiding patrols. Luma monitored the engines, making sure they could escape. The small crown glowed softly, signaling calm after the storm. Before leaving the planet, the ruler stood once more in the central square. Broken buildings surrounded them, but the people who had acted with courage remained. They were strangers who had chosen to help one another. The ruler whispered, "This is the proof I needed. Even in a world that hates, humans and aliens can act together. Kindness is stronger than fear." The royal ship lifted off, leaving Varel behind. The horizon glowed with the light of the 3 moons, and the distant stars beckoned. The journey to the blue-marked colony was still long. The warlord would follow, and the unknown dangers of space awaited them. But the ruler now understood that the path was not about avoiding danger. It was about inspiring courage. As the ship moved into space, the small crown glowed steadily. The ruler's heart felt lighter, yet prepared. Somewhere ahead, allies and friends might be waiting. And somewhere, enemies lurked, testing every choice they made. The crew worked silently, sharing a quiet understanding. They had seen the power of courage, trust, and kindness. And they knew that the journey was far from over. Above them, the stars moved slowly, silent witnesses to a small crowned soul searching for love in a galaxy filled with strangers. The ruler closed their eyes for a moment, imagining the colony ahead. They were no longer searching blindly. Every stranger they had met, every act of courage, every choice to help or protect, it all led here. The journey would be dangerous, but the small crown shone bright, and somewhere among the stars, love waited. The royal ship drifted quietly in a remote sector of space. Stars stretched endlessly outside the observation window, but inside, tension hung heavy. The small crown on the ruler's head glowed faintly, sensing the unease of the crew. The events on Varel had left them shaken. They had seen humans and aliens work together, even in fear, but danger had followed them closer than ever. The ruler moved through the ship quietly, thinking. Their mind was filled with the face of the warlord from Elira. He had survived the old battles, hidden in shadows, feeding anger and fear, and now he hunted them across the stars. The ruler could feel the weight of the crown, heavier than any metal, heavier than fear itself. The path to the colony they sought now seemed even more dangerous. In the ship's common area, Luma monitored the navigation system. Ivo was in the cockpit, checking engines and shields. The ruler stood silently, watching the stars, trying to imagine a path forward. They knew that trust was fragile, that even the smallest mistake could cost lives. Suddenly an alert flashed on the screen.
"Unknown vessel detected," Ivo said. "It's fast."
Military grade. The ruler's heart beat faster.
"Can they trace us?" Luma shook her head. "Not immediately, but they will soon."
It looks like a warship, heavy armor, long-range sensors. The ruler placed a hand on the crown. Its faint glow brightened slightly.
"Prepare for evasive maneuvers," they said.
"But we cannot engage. Not yet. We must survive, not fight." Hours passed as the ship weaved through empty space, hiding among asteroids and comets. The crew was tense, every sound amplified in the quiet of the ship. At night, when the artificial lights dimmed, the ruler walked alone in the corridor. Thoughts of Varel haunted them. They remembered the citizens who had acted with courage, who had helped strangers without asking for reward. They remembered the young human traitor, the alien child, and all the small acts of kindness that had saved lives. But now, captured or defeated, that hope could be extinguished. The ruler knew that if the warlord caught them, the journey would end before it began. A week passed. The ship approached a dense nebula, swirling clouds of gas and light. "This is our chance," the ruler said. "We can hide here, regroup, plan our next move." The crew worked quickly. Loma adjusted the shields to reduce energy emissions. Ivo guided the ship carefully through the turbulent clouds. Outside, the nebula shimmered with dangerous energy storms. One wrong move, and the ship could be destroyed. Inside the ship, the tension remained. "We cannot stay here long," Luma said. "If they follow, we risk being trapped." "Then we stay just long enough to plan," the ruler replied. "We need allies, someone who can help us reach the colony safely." The small crown pulsed softly as the ruler considered the possibilities. They thought of every stranger who had shown kindness, every person who had risked themselves to protect another. Maybe among these strangers there were allies waiting to be found. While the ship remained hidden in the nebula, the ruler and crew discovered a transmission signal. It was weak, old, and scrambled, but it carried hope. A message from another world, another traveler. Help is near. Trust is possible. The ruler's heart lifted slightly. "There is someone out there who understands," they said. "We are not alone." Suddenly the ship shook violently. The warlord's vessels had found them at the edge of the nebula.
Ivo's voice was tense.
"They're here! They found us!" The small crown glowed brightly as the ruler stepped forward. "We cannot fight them head-on. Prepare the escape pods. We will use the nebula's storms to our advantage." The crew worked quickly, moving supplies and securing the ship. The warlord's vessels fired warning beams, shaking the hull. Debris from the nebulous storms collided with the ships, giving the royal ship a chance to maneuver. The ruler took the helm for a moment, guiding the ship through a narrow passage. Sparks flew as the hull scraped against floating asteroids. The warlord's ships followed, but one miscalculated the path and collided with a rock, slowing their pursuit. "We bought some time," Ivo said, relief in his voice. "But not much." The ruler nodded. "Time is enough. We need to reach the inner sector. There, we may find allies, people who remember the old stories of kindness and courage." Hours passed as the ship moved cautiously. Finally, they reached a cluster of small planets, a forgotten system with sparse populations. Here, humans and aliens had lived together quietly, without power, without wars, simply surviving. The ruler saw hope in this place, a chance to build trust and gather allies. They landed on the largest of the planets, a quiet world of green fields and shallow seas. The locals were wary at first, but the ruler's calm presence and the small crown's gentle glow reassured them. They spoke with words of peace, offering help in trade, protection, and knowledge. Slowly, they won the trust of the local leaders. Among the locals was a young alien pilot named Terran, who had once fought against humans during the Old War. Terran's ship had been destroyed in a battle long ago, leaving him stranded on the planet. He had grown bitter, distrustful, and angry. But the ruler saw something in him, a spark of courage that had not yet been extinguished. "You trust me," Terran said cautiously, "even after all I have done." "Yes," the ruler replied. "Trust is not given lightly, but it can be chosen." Terran studied the crown and then the ruler's eyes. "I have seen hatred destroy everything. Maybe you are right." Together, they worked to fortify the planet's defenses, knowing the warlord would continue to pursue them. Humans and aliens, strangers who had never trusted one another, began to cooperate. The ruler guided them, showing that kindness and courage were stronger than fear. Days turned into nights as they prepared. The ruler remained vigilant, knowing the warlord could strike at any moment. One evening, Terran approached the ruler with a map of nearby systems. "There is a shortcut to the colony you seek," he said. "It is dangerous, but it avoids the main patrols." The ruler studied the map carefully. "We take the risk," they said. "If we succeed, we may reach the colony before the warlord can catch us." The crew prepared the ship for departure. Locals helped load supplies, offering food, fuel, and information. The ruler felt a surge of hope. Allies were possible. Trust was possible. Love, even among strangers, was possible. As the ship lifted off from the green planet, the small crown glowed brightly. Stars stretched before them, endless and silent witnesses to the journey. The warlord's forces were far behind, but they would not give up. Every choice the ruler made would be tested. Every act of trust could be challenged. The royal ship moved through space, guided by courage, hope, and the faint glow of the small crown. The ruler's heart was strong. They had learned that even in the darkest corners of the galaxy, kindness could survive. Every stranger could be a friend, every action could inspire courage, and every choice could shape the future. The journey to the blue-marked colony continued. The path was dangerous, filled with unknown enemies and uncertain allies. But the ruler no longer feared the darkness. They had discovered that trust, courage, and kindness were weapons stronger than any ship, faster than any pursuit. In the quiet of the observation room, the ruler whispered to the stars, "We are not alone. We never were. And we will not stop searching." Somewhere in the galaxy the colony waited. Somewhere in the shadows the warlord watched. And somewhere among strangers hope was already taking root. The small crown's soul had learned a truth. Even when captured or doubted, even when surrounded by danger, kindness and courage could survive. And with them, love could grow across the stars. The ship sailed into darkness, guided by hope, trust, and the courage of a small crowned soul searching for love through every stranger. The royal ship moved through space, its hull scarred from earlier battles and storms. The small crown on the ruler's head glowed steadily, reflecting both the weight of responsibility and a growing hope. Ahead, the blue-marked colony awaited, but the path was far from safe. The warlord from Illyria had not given up. Every jump, every system could hold danger. Yet the ruler felt a strange determination. They had come too far to turn back now. Inside the ship, the crew worked quietly but with purpose. Ivo checked navigation repeatedly, while Luma inspected engines and shields. Terran, the alien pilot who had joined them on the green planet, studied star charts and enemy movement. Each of them had faced fear, loss, and doubt. Now, they worked together, humans and aliens, strangers, bound by trust and courage. The journey through the outer systems was tense. Long-range scans picked up the warlord's ship, shadowing them intermittently. Each time, the crew braced for attack. Yet, the small crown seemed to respond to danger, glowing brighter whenever hope or courage was strongest. The ruler watched it closely, learning to understand its subtle signals. Finally, they approached a system of asteroids surrounding the colony. The blue-marked world was small but rich in life, covered with green fields and silver lakes. From orbit, the ruler could see buildings made of smooth stone and crystal. Smoke rose in thin lines from chimneys, signaling life and work. The colony had survived decades of war without interference, and now it seemed almost untouched by time. "Approach carefully," the ruler said. "We do not know if anyone is watching. They may fear humans, or they may fear us." The ship descended slowly. Landing platforms were few, and the surrounding area was sparsely populated. Citizens appeared cautiously, observing the ship from a distance. Children hid behind adults, and workers paused their daily tasks. The ruler could feel the tension. Fear still existed here, even after so many years. A lone figure approached the ship, stepping lightly across the field. It was an alien elder, robes flowing, eyes sharp. They stopped before the ship and raised a hand in greeting.
"You are the one they speak of?" the elder asked.
I am a traveler, the ruler replied softly.
"I seek only to understand and to learn if kindness and trust still exist in this galaxy." The elder studied the small crown and then the ruler's eyes. "We have heard of you," they said slowly. "The story of a small crowned soul seeking love through strangers. Few have such courage." The ruler nodded. "I come with respect and with hope." The elder gestured for them to follow. As they walked through the colony, the ruler observed life here. Humans and aliens worked together, tending fields, repairing buildings, and teaching children. Strangers had learned to cooperate, not through fear, but through shared understanding. The ruler felt warmth. This was the proof they had been searching for. But the warmth was not without shadow. The warlord had been tracking them. Scouts had already begun appearing in nearby systems, and a strike could come at any moment. The ruler could feel the tension ripple through the colony, a quiet undercurrent beneath the daily work. That evening, the ruler met with the colony's leaders. They gathered in a circular hall, built of stone and crystal, sunlight filtering through tall windows. Humans and aliens sat side by side, listening with curiosity and caution.
"I come seeking only to understand," the ruler said.
"I have seen kindness in the smallest actions, courage in those who risk themselves for strangers. I ask you to join me, to show the galaxy that fear is not the only path, that trust can survive even after war." The leaders whispered among themselves. One human elder spoke. "And why should we help you? You are from a world that has brought war before." "I am not that world," the ruler replied. "I am a small crowned soul searching for love and trust, that is all I ask. I seek only to show that cooperation and courage are stronger than fear." The alien elder who had first greeted the ruler nodded. "You speak truth. Courage is shown not in battle alone, but in the choice to act with kindness when danger surrounds us. We will help." Plans were made quickly. The colony prepared to defend itself but also to assist the royal ship and its crew in reaching safety. Humans and aliens worked together, repairing ships, preparing supply routes, and scouting for threats. The ruler watched and felt a deep hope. For the first time it seemed possible that the galaxy could change. But the warlord was relentless. His fleet appeared suddenly in the outskirts of the system, black and jagged, moving with speed and precision. Beams of energy lit up space as his forces attempted to block any escape. "Prepare for battle," Ivo said, tension thick in his voice. "We cannot outrun them." "No," the ruler replied. "We will not fight them with hatred. We will fight them with courage and trust." The crew, humans and aliens alike, took positions. The colony's citizens moved quickly, activating defenses and guiding children and families to safety. Terran led a small fleet of scouts to intercept, using maneuvers that forced the warlord's ships to divide and delay. The battle began quietly but intensely. Energy blasts lit up the sky, but the ruler's focus was on the choices made in courage. Civilians helped each other escape. Scouts risked themselves to protect the royal ship, and even the youngest humans and aliens acted bravely under guidance. Every act of kindness became a weapon against fear. During the chaos, the warlord's flagship approached directly. He sent a message, loud and mocking. Your small crown cannot save you. Your friends will fall, and your colony will burn. The ruler responded calmly. We are not afraid. Courage is stronger than your hate. Trust is stronger than your power. A final confrontation loomed. The warlord attempted to strike the colony's main station, aiming to destroy hope at its source. But the ruler acted swiftly. Using a small fleet of scouts led by Terran, they intercepted the attack. Civilians and crew worked together to shield key structures. Energy shields flared as blasts collided against protective barriers. In the heart of the battle, the ruler faced the warlord directly through communication links. It is not too late, the ruler said. You can choose peace or remain alone in hatred. The warlord laughed, rage clear in his voice. Peace is weakness. Power is the only truth. The ruler remained calm. Love and trust are stronger than fear. Courage is stronger than hatred. Watch and see. The colony, inspired by the ruler's words, acted with courage. Humans and aliens moved together to block attacks, rescue trapped citizens, and repair defenses. The warlord's fleet faltered as coordination, trust, and kindness became their unexpected weapon. One of the colony's young pilots sacrificed his escape to save a group of civilians trapped under debris. His courage inspired others. Soldiers dropped their weapons, refusing to follow the warlord blindly. Even some of the warlord's own officers hesitated, realizing that fear alone could not command loyalty. The final moments of battle were tense. The warlord's flagship, damaged and isolated, faced the royal ship and the colony's united forces. Energy shields flared, weapons charged, and time seemed to slow. Then the warlord's ship was forced back, retreating from the coordinated defense. He had been defeated, but the cost was high. Many lives were at risk, and the colony had suffered damage. The ruler's heart ached for every life lost, every act of courage that came at a personal price. The small crown glowed softly, signaling relief, but also a solemn reminder of responsibility. The ruler looked at the crew and the colony's citizens. This is not the end, they said, but it is a beginning. Courage and trust have survived today. That is proof that love can exist even in the darkest corners of the galaxy. The survivors began repairs, guided by the ruler, crew, and citizens. Humans and aliens worked side by side, sharing knowledge, tools, and encouragement. The small crowned soul walked among them, feeling a deep sense of purpose. At night, the ruler stood on a small hill overlooking the colony. The stars glimmered above, endless and silent. They thought of the journey so far, Reth, Viral, the Nebula, and now the Blue Mark colony. Every stranger they had met, every act of courage and kindness, had led to this moment. The ruler whispered quietly, "We have shown that courage can overcome fear, that trust can survive hatred, and that kindness can inspire strength. The search is not over, but hope shines brightly now." The crew gathered near the hill, tired but proud. Terran, Ivo, and Luma exchanged quiet smiles. The colony's citizens approached, offering food, comfort, and thanks. For the first time, the ruler felt the weight of the crown lighten slightly. The warlord may return. The galaxy may still hold dangers. But the small crowned soul had learned the power of trust, courage, and love. And with that, they would face whatever came next. The journey toward a new future, where strangers could become friends, had survived the test. The small crowned soul and their allies now stood ready, not just to survive, but to inspire the galaxy with the strength of kindness and courage. And somewhere in the stars, beyond the blue-marked colony, new challenges awaited. But for the first time, the ruler was not afraid. The crown glowed softly in the night, a beacon of hope and courage. The small crowned soul stood at the edge of the blue-marked colony, looking out at the stars beyond. The night was calm, the air filled with the soft hum of repaired ships and distant laughter. For a moment, the ruler allowed themselves to feel peace. It was the first true calm in months, after storms, battles, and the constant weight of the crown. Yet deep inside, the ruler knew the journey was not over. There were still unknown dangers, and trust was something that had to be earned every day. Ivo checked the ship one last time, ensuring the engines were stable and the shields ready. Luma went over every system, scanning for hidden threats. Terran, the alien pilot, moved among the colony's scouts, preparing small crafts for patrols. Everyone worked quietly, efficiently, and without fear. Trust had been built between them, and it carried a strength that went beyond weapons. The ruler walked among the citizens, humans and aliens alike. Children ran past, playing near the repaired fields, while adults tended to gardens and small workshops. The colony had survived for decades, but it had never known the courage and unity that now filled the air. It was fragile, yes, but alive. A sudden message appeared on the communication console. Unknown sender. The ruler hesitated, then opened it. The screen displayed a simple line. You have inspired more than you know. No name, no origin, only hope. The ruler smiled faintly, feeling a strange warmth in the chest. Perhaps the message came from someone in the shadows, someone who had seen the courage displayed, someone who believed that trust and love were not lost in the galaxy. Hours later, the sky darkened, and strange lights appeared in the distance. The warlord had returned, more ships than before, black and jagged, approaching the colony with precision and intent. His voice came over the communication system, loud and mocking. You cannot hide. You cannot teach courage. I will end this now.
The ruler stepped forward, placing a hand on the crown. Its glow intensified, responding to the determination and hope within.
You are wrong, the ruler said firmly. Courage is stronger than fear. Trust is stronger than hatred. And kindness is stronger than power. The warlord laughed cruelly. Then show me if your words mean anything. The battle began as the warlord's fleet unleashed fire on the colony. Citizens scattered, but the ruler had prepared for this moment. Humans and aliens, trained and united, acted together to protect the people. Energy shields flared. Small crafts intercepted attacks, and civilians helped one another escape danger. The ruler's calm voice guided them, showing that courage was a choice and fear could be overcome. Ivo piloted the royal ship through narrow gaps between the warlord's vessels. Luma used her knowledge of the ship's systems to create temporary energy bursts, confusing the enemy. Terran led squads of scouts diving between enemy ships, drawing fire and protecting the weaker vessels. Every movement was precise, every action inspired by trust, courage, and unity. The ruler's mind raced. The warlord's fleet was larger, stronger, more disciplined. A direct battle would destroy them. But the colony, though small, was united. The ruler realized that strength was not measured in weapons alone. It was measured in the courage of those who chose to stand together, in the trust between strangers, and in the willingness to risk everything for others. The royal ship maneuvered close to the warlord's flagship. A narrow canyon between two mountains offered a path no one expected. Ivo guided the ship through it with incredible precision. The warlord's vessels could not follow easily, their larger size a disadvantage. The ruler spoke through the communication link, addressing the warlord directly. Look around you. See what you call weakness. See humans and aliens working together, protecting one another, risking themselves for strangers. That is true strength. That is what you cannot destroy. The warlord's voice grew furious. Strength is fear. Strength is power. You will see. A sudden movement startled the ruler. Small crafts from the colony surged forward, led by children who had trained on miniature simulators, guided by adults. The crafts formed a shield between the royal ship and the flagship, moving with courage and precision. The warlord's attacks were deflected not by weapons, but by the bravery of the citizens. The ruler realized something important. The galaxy had taught them that courage could be inspired, that love could move strangers to act. The warlord had underestimated the power of trust, kindness, and hope. The battle raged for hours. Sparks flew, energy shields flared, and debris scattered across space. Citizens and crew risked their lives repeatedly to protect one another. Every act of bravery weakened the warlord's fleet, not physically, but morally. His own officers began to hesitate, seeing courage where fear had once ruled. Finally, the warlord's flagship, isolated and damaged, began to retreat. His attacks slowed. The power of fear had faltered against the strength of trust. The ruler watched as the fleet scattered, defeated not by destruction, but by the unity of those who had chosen to act with courage. Silence followed the battle. The colony had suffered damage, but it had survived. The ruler stood on the observation deck, looking at the people below. Humans and aliens, strangers once wary of one another, now worked side by side to rebuild, heal, and protect the future. The small crown glowed softly, reflecting pride, hope, and quiet determination. Ivo approached the ruler. "They're gone, for now," he said, "but more will come if we are not careful." The ruler nodded. "We will be ready, but tonight we remember courage. We remember that even in fear, trust can survive. Even in hatred, kindness can shine." Luma joined them, her eyes soft but determined. "The colony is safe. We have shown that strangers can work together. That alone is a victory."
The ruler smiled faintly.
"It is more than a victory. It is proof." The elder who had first welcomed the ruler approached, bowing slightly. "You have brought something rare to our colony. You have reminded us that courage, trust, and kindness can survive. That is the greatest gift any stranger can give." The ruler's gaze turned to the horizon, where distant stars stretched endlessly. "This is only the beginning," they said softly. "The galaxy is vast, filled with fear, hatred, and doubt. But it is also filled with hope, courage, and strangers who choose to act with kindness." The citizens began to gather around, sharing stories of bravery, hope, and small acts that had saved lives during the battle. Humans and aliens exchanged knowledge, repairs, and laughter. The colony's energy was renewed, and the small-crowned soul felt that the journey, while dangerous, had not been in vain. Later in the quiet of the night, the ruler walked among the people. Children approached, curious about the small crown and the stories of courage it represented. Adults smiled, sharing words of thanks and hope. Even strangers from nearby settlements came to learn, inspired by the acts of bravery they had witnessed. The ruler knelt before a small group of children. "Remember this," they said softly. "Courage is not the absence of fear. Trust is not the absence of danger. Kindness is not weakness. These are choices, and every choice can change the galaxy." The children nodded, eyes wide. They understood in their own way that the small-crowned soul was not just a ruler, but a symbol that strangers could act together, that love could survive, and that courage could inspire others. That night, as the stars stretched across the sky, the ruler returned to the observation deck. The royal ship floated quietly above the colony, lights reflecting on its scarred hull. The small crown glowed steadily, a gentle pulse of hope. A message appeared on the console. "Unknown sender." The ruler opened it. "Your courage has awakened more than you know. Others will follow. Trust has survived. Love has survived." The ruler smiled, feeling the weight of the crown ease slightly. The galaxy was still dangerous, still full of uncertainty, but the journey had proven one thing: kindness, trust, and courage could survive, and through them, love could grow. The royal ship lifted slightly, preparing for patrols and continued protection. Citizens waved, not in fear, but with trust and hope. The small-crowned soul understood now that the search for love through strangers was never about reaching one place. It was about inspiring courage and trust wherever they went. Somewhere in the distant stars, other strangers were listening, watching, waiting. Perhaps one day, all corners of the galaxy would understand that courage, trust, and kindness were stronger than fear and hatred. The ruler placed a hand on the crown, feeling its gentle pulse. "We have done well," they whispered. "We have shown the galaxy that even a small crowned soul can change the hearts of many." The crew gathered beside the ruler. Ivo, Luma, Terran, and the colony's allies stood together, humans and aliens united. Together, they had survived battles, storms, and fear. Together, they had proven that courage, trust, and kindness were not just words, but actions capable of shaping the future. The small crowned soul looked out at the stars once more. The journey had been long, filled with danger, doubt, and shadows, yet it had led to this moment, a colony alive with trust, courage, and hope, and a galaxy that might one day learn the same lesson. The crown glowed softly, a steady light in the darkness. The ruler knew the path ahead would not be easy, that challenges would come, but the lesson was clear. Love could survive among strangers, and courage could inspire even the smallest soul to make a difference. And with that, the small crowned soul, surrounded by allies and friends, looked to the stars, ready to continue their search not just for love, but for a galaxy that could believe in kindness again. The journey had reached the colony. The warlord had been defeated, the citizens inspired, and hope had survived. Yet the stars above promised that more challenges awaited. The small crowned soul was ready. Because wherever there were strangers, wherever there was fear, wherever hearts could be touched by courage and kindness, love would always have a chance to grow.